somewhere in space. This may all be happening right now.
That's right, it's William the Refrigerator Perry.
The fridge is joined G.I. Joe.
And you can get a free fridge. Here's how.
Collect 5 fridge certificates or call the number on the certificate and the fridge will tell you how to get in on the action. With only 4 certificates, there's a $1 handling charge. See details on specially marked G.I. Joe packages.
Watch out, Cobra. Fridge is coming through.
Yo!
Joe.
And welcome to the Pop Culture Hour. I'm your host, Johnny, and with me tonight is the lovely co-host of the Pop Culture Hour, Miss Emily Lind.
Hello, hello.
Emily and I were just debating for 20 minutes on whether or not we should go with this next series of questioning and comments regarding our co-host, Mr. Michael Pappas. As you may have realized that Michael Pappas is not on the show, and he would have missed episode 1. Oh, did I say which episode this was? I'm so rusty.
It's been a couple weeks.
So this is episode 2, a whole 2. This is the second episode. We made it! Woohoo! Please write in, send emails. We'll have like 5 guests. It's been 2 episodes. We're excited. It's a huge landmark for us. No, I'm kidding.
Real big milestone, too.
We are shocked that we made it this long. Okay, so who hasn't made it this long is Michael. So Michael for episode 1, and this is kind of like a recap for everybody. So we picked our date to record, and Michael was in, and then all of a sudden, like 5 minutes later, he couldn't do it. Now, we picked this date to record. We actually thought this was going to be Friday the 13th, remember, when we planned it?
Mm-hmm.
But it ended up being Saturday the 13th. And we were going to have this like whole like horror like angle, and it was awesome. And so we were like all excited, and I was like, oh man. I was like, the 13th is a Saturday, so it's Saturday the 13th. And we were like, all right, cool, so we'll still do Saturday the 13th. Saturday the 13th, 8 p.m. So like Emily mentioned, Mike gave us at least 3 hours notice that he couldn't make it tonight. He told me a week ago he was going to be in Arizona at a retreat with his dad. So I was like, that's kind of like cool, right, Emily?
Yeah.
You know, go on a retreat in Arizona, surrounded by nothing with your dad. You know, and then I'm thinking maybe he spelled retreat wrong. maybe he meant rehab. Maybe Mike is in a rehab facility in Arizona, because I think that's where Charlie Sheen went.
Duh. Winning.
And by the way, just because Emily's a sweetheart, she does not condone this line of questioning to Michael's true intentions of where he is tonight. But aside from that, Emily, who looks amazing, if you got to go on YouTube. Emily's like, shit, we're fucking on TV now. I gotta bring it. And dude, she brought it tonight. Dude, the hair's done, the glasses are sweet. She got makeup. Smiling, lighting up.
I have a little bit of lip gloss, and I haven't like washed my hair in a couple days, so it's sticking up. So that's me doing my hair.
No, come on. That's like there's no product involved there.
There's no product involved there. It's just that when it's at the length where I can sort of mold it into a like faux hawk sort of point. Anyway, my money is not on rehab. My money is on survivalist cult.
Survivalist cult. I can see that. I can see that. But like, he wouldn't be our Mikey unless he like takes the cult over.
Yeah, that's what we're counting on. That'll get us some more listeners. He can make it like a mandatory thing.
And by the way, to our 7 loyal listeners, can you please tell 7 more people to check out the YouTube channel? Just search for the Pop Culture Hour on YouTube and it'll pop right up. Twitter at Pop Culture Hour, iTunes, Google Play, and we had a Google Play issue, but like 2 of them pop up. Just look for the one with the logo. One doesn't have a logo and it's like dead bullshit, and then the other one you'll see our amazing logo by Josh Chapman, and then that's the one you want. Okay? Please tell friends. Please like and subscribe everywhere. Please tell friends.
Yeah, we like it if people actually would listen to our podcast.
But people write in. We have a couple people writing in, so that's cool. We'll have a couple things today. We have a lot of topics today. Like today is like really going to be like a true pop culture hour because we're actually 3 weeks away from our last episode. One of our 7 listeners, Rich Jafarjian, and he watches us on YouTube, Emily. And he said, dude, where's the YouTube episode? Where's episode 2? And I was like, oh, it didn't work out. We're going to record this weekend, and then it'll be out like the following week. And he gave me the Vader meme. No.
We were going to record last weekend, and it just seemed like with everything going on in the world, it was a weird time to just like, we're just going to talk about movies. And it's still a little weird. Obviously, there's still a lot going on. And, you know, we're still in the midst of tons of upheaval and protests, and that is absolutely should be what's happening. But I feel like a little bit more like I can feel a little bit less like that's my entire focus.
Well said. Well said. So we actually have, God, I think like 10 or 11 topics. So it's almost going to be like a fire thing.
A fire thing?
A fire thing. Like a rapid fire thing, like boom,
Okay.
boom, 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 boom.
Okay. A fire thing?
A fire thing.
Fire thing?
Fire thing.
Fire thing?
Fire thing.
Fire thing?
Fire thing.
Fire thing?
Fire thing. Fire thing. Fire thing. Okay. So our first topic in the speed round, the Pop Culture Hour speed hour. It's like speed dating. Is that why you dressed up?
Yeah, just for you.
Thank you. Hold on, let me make sure Sabrina can't see. Okay. Hey. I'm half naked. I've got full on summer clothes on. I have a like a Captain America. Oh wait, you can see me. I'm on YouTube.
Yeah, but there's also people listening to the podcast.
Oh yes. So I have like a Captain America like tank top thing.
Showing off the guns.
Aw. Can you see my burn?
Yeah, you're a little bit pink.
So I did like yard work today. It's actually hysterical because like you can see the red, the white, and then the red.
Okay,
you
need to start wearing sunscreen.
Well, I didn't. I was just doing yard work.
Yeah, outside in the sun. That's when you wear sunscreen in the yard outside.
I haven't seen. You're right. But I didn't think I would get like so red like fast. But it's like hysterical because it's like you have the white strip of like where the tank top thing is.
Yeah.
Where was I?
Topics.
You know who one of the man crush is for me? Do you remember?
You mean Leo?
Oh yes. Oh yes. Oh yes.
Say his name again.
Leonardo DiCaprio?
Oh yes.
Ah, I love it. Just the sound of it. Leonardo DiCaprio.
Leonardo DiCaprio.
It's like 6 syllables of sin. Leonardo DiCaprio.
That's your boy.
That is my dude. You know what? Like, I gotta be honest with you. Oh, by the way, there's legit news, everyone. I'm not just like fanboying over him. I don't know how I would act if I ever met him.
There's people who I just never want to meet because I don't know. Like I think I would just obsess about it and be embarrassed by it the rest of my life. So I just can't meet them.
Is he one of them?
No, but I feel like that might be the way it is for you. Like, I feel like there's just some people who it's not like he would disappoint you, but you would disappoint yourself because you'd want it to be perfect and you'd want to have this amazing connection that you probably wouldn't have because it's just the chances of that are slim.
You think, Slim?
Yeah, and it's not because like you're a disappointing person. It's just because at the end of the day, what are you really going to say to him that you would like walk away feeling really good about?
I don't know. So I don't know if you and I ever personally talked about it, but I mentioned it on like Rogue One. My cousin Paul, who works for Dolby,
Maybe.
he's met Leo a bunch of times. He's basically like a glorified projectionist. Like Scorsese uses Paul, and that's how he keeps meeting Leo. So he'll do like these small screenings. So he's met Leo a couple times. And one time Leo said like, hey, let's go get ice cream. It was in New York, right outside Dolby. And he goes, hey, let's go get ice cream and then we'll bring it back. What movie was it? It was oh my gosh, Shutter Island.
I love that movie.
Do you?
Yeah, really underrated. People don't like it, and I don't quite understand why, because I think it's awesome.
You know what the best part was? Like he couldn't break the loop. Right?
Yeah.
You think like he was like cured, and although it was really depressing and sad, but like at least he's cured. Nope. Right back in it. So it was Shutter Island. So they went and got ice cream, and he said like the walk there, like he probably had like 2 or 3 of his friends with him. I'm sorry, he had 2 or 3 of his friends with him. Probably like Lucas Haas was one of them. You know, Ethan Suplee, like the regulars, but like Paul Sacco doesn't really watch movies, which is ironic. So he doesn't really know who these people are. So it was probably like people like that. But he had like 2 or 3 people with him. And he said all he kept doing was like fucking with them. Like they would like stop and let the traffic go and then would push them hard, like into oncoming traffic. Like not enough to kill them, but like scare them. Would like flick the back of their ears. And then he said when they had the ice cream and they were in the movie theater watching the ice cream, like he would like flick it like in their hair. Like he said he's just a goofball. But like and like he's just all about like having a good time, making people laugh. And like not mean bullying them, but like they were like making people laugh. He said just a goofball to make people laugh. And he said he was just so down to earth and like you wouldn't even know that he was like the biggest movie star in the world. So I'm hoping if I ever get to meet him, A, he'll be like that. B, he'll flick ice cream in my ear.
Okay, that's a goal.
But I don't know how I would act. I would be like, I mean, I would be cool. I wouldn't be like, oh my God, you were so good in Shutter Island. And I wouldn't say anything stupid like, you know, my aunt thinks you and I look alike. you know, and my aunt does, by the way.
What's your favorite Leo movie?
Wow, that's a great question. And it's an easy answer. It's called What's Eating Gilbert Grape?
Okay.
It actually, the movie changed my life. You want to hear how?
Yes. No, I don't.
Okay.
Let's move on to something else.
Moving on. So I have a sister. God, I don't think I ever talked about my sister on the podcast. I have a sister. Her name's Tara. She's not one of the 7, which is fucked up because she was one of like the thousands that listen to Rogue One, which was just Star Wars. Now I can talk about anything. And I have an awesome co-host that shows up. Hey, Emily.
Hi.
My sister doesn't even listen to this yet, so I got to make sure she does. I got to tell her she gets a shout out. So anyway, my sister's 5 years older than me, okay? She loved Johnny Depp. Now, mind you, no one knew who Leonardo DiCaprio was when this movie came out, okay? Not like the normal, maybe like if you were hardcore into things, maybe. No one knew who he was. So she made me watch this movie, and it was What's Eating Gilbert Grape. And I was a teenager. The only movies I watched were like Rambo, Rocky, Commando, you know, Bull Durham, The Natural. So it was either had to be like ultra male testosterone movies or baseball, football movies. Okay. Mm-hmm. Those were the only things I liked. So this like literally changed my life. She didn't want to watch it alone, you know? Like me, I love going to the movies alone. It's like my sanctuary. I can't wait till this Corona shit's over so I can go to a movie by myself. So we go, and I'm like pissed off, but like she bought me tons of candy, and I was like really fat, so candy was my thing. So I was happy, and I'm watching the movie. Did you see the movie?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen it in years, but I've seen it.
Oh my God. You know what we should do? We should watch the movie and like just kind of do a commentary.
Hmm.
We got to figure out the technology though.
Yeah.
Because I can't get the music to play again. So I have things to do. So a lot of you maybe have not seen this movie. So let's understand where I was in life. I was a smartass. I thought I was the smartest person in the room all the time. I went to a high school for like smart people. I was arrogant that way. I wasn't arrogant like the way people think I am now, and I'm not, by the way, people. Like I was like over 300 pounds. Like I was fat, so like I rested on like my intelligence. But I was very unlikable. Like I'll admit that I was very unlikable, and I was mean. You know, I'll hurt you before you hurt me type person. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't call myself a bully, but like I was always defensive. Really wasn't a good person. So I watched this movie, and for those of you who don't know, Gilbert Grape takes care of his family because his father committed suicide. So he's probably in the movie like 22 years old, you know, let's say 22, okay? And he's got 2 sisters and a brother. The brother is autistic, and that's played by Leonardo DiCaprio. And the sisters are, you know, pretty average. And the mother is like 600 pounds. Like, can't get up the stairs anymore. Is like she just basically lives in the living room. Like, and Johnny Depp is Johnny Depp. He's fucking gorgeous. He can do anything, but he like sacrifices all this to take care of his brother, right? Because he's the man of the house. So he takes care of his brother Arnie, which is Leonardo DiCaprio, autistic, and his 600-pound mother. Okay, so he's the man of the house. He works. He, you know, obviously he's like, you know, the only breadwinner. And, you know, you're like, wow, you're rooting for this guy. So right off the bat, like Johnny Depp is a good dude. And this is all pretty much established right away. The whole premise is he sacrificed his life to take care of his mother and his brother. That in itself is moving. I was 300 plus pounds. So like I related to like everybody in this movie. I didn't really relate to Johnny Depp in the sense that like, you know, the handsome part.
Okay.
I didn't. Dude, I'll show you pictures. I was 300 pounds, 300 plus. But I related to the fact that like I was missing out on something. Okay. So I related to Johnny Depp's character, Gilbert Grape, in the sense that I wasn't living the life I should be living. Okay. You know, maybe something was holding me back, probably my weight. Okay. Then Mama Grape, right? Mama Grape was 600 pounds. I was 300 plus, right? Easy analogy, right? Okay. Mm-hmm. And then Leonardo DiCaprio's performance of autistic Arnie was just so moving. Just the innocence of a child in like an 18-year-old's body. And like that was the whole thing. Like the doctor said Arnie would never live past 12. And the whole movie was gearing up to his 18th birthday party, you know? So it was like a big celebration. So I don't want to give the ending away, but, you know, I related, and it was very sad movie, and like completely changed like my personality. Like I went from always on the defensive, using my intelligence and quick wit to hurt people, or to be defensive. Like again, I wasn't a bully, but like if I thought you were coming at me, I would like bang, 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 bang. Quick wit. And it like really made me a better person. And it also it was the first movie that had an emotional impact on me. Like I was bawling at the end and like crying in the middle. Just terrible. Like snot bubbles, everything. Right? Especially the ending. Just like like had the lip going and everything. I walked out of the movie theater and I didn't know what the word autistic was. I didn't know what autism was. But I wasn't a dick. Like I didn't say the R word. But I walked out and I looked at my sister and I was crying hysterically. And she goes, "You like that movie, huh?" You know, kind of like taking a shot at me. And I looked at her and I was like, how did they get like the mentally challenged kid to act so well? Like he did everything. He cried. He laughed, like, you know, and again, like you gotta understand, I'm 15, 16. Like I don't have a view of the world. Like, you know, now we have, and we mentioned it before, Shia LaBeouf's movie, The Peanut Butter Falcon. Now we have, autistic actors, and they're phenomenal, but at that age, like, I didn't know, right? So I said, how did they get the mentally challenged kid to act so good? Like, he cried, he screamed, like, he knew his lines, like, and she looked at me and she goes, "You're a fucking idiot." I was like, "What are you talking about?" She goes, and I think she knew what the word was. She goes, he wasn't autistic. And I just went, huh? And she's like, "That's Luke." I'm like, "Luke who?" She goes, "That's Luke from Growing Pains." And I just froze because me and my family, like real cheesy, like, would watch Growing Pains as a family. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I remember Luke from Growing Pains, and he did not look like that. So Luke from Growing Pains was like 5 foot, and then Arnie, he was like probably 6 feet. Like, so he didn't quite look like him. Plus, obviously, he acted autistic, and his hair was shorter, and he was taller and skinnier, et cetera, et cetera. And I was floored. I was so taken back. And that moment, I became the biggest Leonardo DiCaprio fan. I went and saw all of his movies, which was like 3. I'll never forget. I went to my VHS my store, and I rented This Boy's Life, which was phenomenal. I rented Total Eclipse. The first 15 minutes were cool. Then it got fucking weird and not good, but I still rented it. And one of the baddest movies of all time, The Basketball Diaries. So good, right?
Man, that is a rough watch.
Good movie though, right?
I mean, good, but just like devastating.
Yeah. So in one weekend, I watched What's Eating Gilbert Grape, This Boy's Life, Total Eclipse, don't recommend it. First 15 minutes is cool, and Basketball Diaries. So, like, that's a hell of a start to a career. Okay.
That is, I think in general, DiCaprio is really interesting because he started with these really meaty, dramatic roles, and then Hollywood went, "No, you're super handsome. You're going to be like the romantic drama lead." And so he did that for a while. And that's when I sort of don't particularly like his career. Like, I still think he's good, but I don't, like, Titanic is not the movie for me. But then he goes back to being that, no, I'm going to do roles that are challenging and interesting. I'm going to go back to doing the indie stuff rather than the heartthrob stuff.
Yeah, no, he just wants to make good movies, man. And so funny you should mention that heartthrob stuff. So here I am. Now I'm literally enrolling myself back into acting school because, for those of you that don't know, I was like a little child actor on Nickelodeon. So he changed my life. He made me love movies that weren't fucking, Sylvester Stallone blowing shit up or knocking people out, right? He got me back into acting because I went from the Nickelodeon thing, kind of forgot about it. So I went and took acting classes, realized that the movie itself changed me, and I wanted to write. So I took 2 or 3 years of screenwriting classes on top of the acting classes, and like really kind of like went for it for a while there. And that one movie did it all. So I was in class and I was like, "You guys know who Leonardo DiCaprio is?" And they're like, "No." And I'm like, "Did you see the movie Basketball Diaries?" And they're like, "Oh, yeah. And I go, "That's Leonardo DiCaprio." Like, "Oh, cool. Yeah, good movie. I'm like, "Yeah, dude, you got to see This Boy's Life. You got to see What's Eating Gilbert Grape," right? So I'm basically, anyone who will listen, I'm telling them about Leonardo DiCaprio. Then the fucking ship sinks. Great metaphor. Then Titanic happens. Now, I have posters of Leonardo DiCaprio in my room. I have the Basketball Diaries poster. I have This Boy's Life poster. Okay. And, but it's okay. There's no girls go in my room because I was still 300 plus pounds. And all my friends, and I'm still talking about them. I still love them. I went and saw Titanic like opening weekend and I loved it, and I didn't really realize that like I was going to get bullied for this now. Like I almost had to hide my love for Leonardo DiCaprio after Titanic because he got so popular, so fast, so big with like teenage girls, 12-year-old even girls.
Yeah, he's like the new guy on the cover of every issue of Tiger Beat.
Yeah. And it's like my love for him got confused with like Titanic. And I'm like, no, Titanic was good, but like, did you guys see Basketball Diaries? Like, he does coke and like hardcore drugs and like it's a real badass movie. Like, and they're like, shut up, Johnny, you're a weirdo. And I had to hide my love because I was getting bullied for loving Leo. And then The Beach happened, which I actually read the book. That was my thing. I would find out what his next movie was, and I would read the book and like see how like, and then watch it on screen like, oh, that's how he played it. That's so cool. Kind of like my own little like actor research, if you will. So Alex Garland wrote the book The Beach, and I can't believe I'm going to say this, but the book was better than the movie.
Okay. Wow, that's big for you.
I know, because like they really like commercialized the movie to like make it sell, which I get. Danny Boyle, I get it. But like the book was more like about trying to rip off the drug dealers just to smoke free pot. They had to go on these like drug runs to steal, and it was like exciting. They almost got shot, and like none of that was in the movie. They basically just grew their own, which makes sense because like you're in like a tropical island. Why wouldn't you just grow your own after you steal it the first time? So like the movie makes more sense, but the book was more exciting. Anyway, so like that movie kind of bombed. Then there was like the Leo backlash. And then it seemed like he took a couple years off, and then boom, Gangs of New York. Badass Leo is back. What?
Gangs of New York is awesome.
So good.
I gotta go back to that one. I actually don't think I've seen it since it came out.
Okay, I can never watch that movie again.
Really?
So when I was a history teacher, I would show that movie once a semester, which is twice a year.
Oh, okay, that's a lot.
So I saw it twice a year for like 6 years in a row. So I can't watch it again. But it's good.
Yeah. It's not like it's a controversial statement to say that Daniel Day-Lewis is one of the best actors of all time, but god damn, he's amazing.
Did I ever tell you I met him?
No, I didn't hear that. That's all. Oh, I love him.
Oh my god. Holy shit. So right before I quit going for the acting, people aren't going to believe this, and I'm okay with that. I still have the script. I screen tested with Daniel Day-Lewis for a movie called The Ballad of Jack and Rose, which was later renamed The Rose and the Snake, directed by Arthur Miller's daughter, Rebecca Miller. Yeah, I spent like a good amount of time with him. I didn't get the part, sadly, but I do have a good story. You want to hear the story?
Of course I do.
So first you go on like the first audition. There's like 300 people there. Okay. Then like the lady kind of knew me. So she waved me. She's like, yeah. Just come back at 3:00. I said, okay. So I come back at 3:00 and there's only like 10 people in the room. I'm like, all right, sweet. So I do my thing. And then on the train ride home, I get a phone call and they're like, can you come in, whatever, we're going to, what's your address? We're going to have the script overnighted to you. And I was like, okay, yeah. And they're like, read it, and then study scenes, whatever. I'm like, okay, no problem. So like I hang up the phone, my little flip phone, blip, and I'm just in shock. And I'm like, holy shit, like in a day and a half, I'm going to meet and audition with Daniel Day-Lewis. So like, I'm on the train and I'm soaking it all in, call my acting teacher up, John Ide, and he's like, how did it go? You think you'll get a call back? I got the call back. It was on the same day. And he's like, oh, great. Yeah, they do that a lot. And I said, yeah. I go, and I'm going to read with Daniel Day-Lewis Thursday. And he said, what? I said, yeah. He said, holy shit. He goes, Johnny, there's only going to be like 1 or 2 people against you. And I was like, that's it? And he's like, yeah. He goes, it might be between you and another person. And I'm like, oh my God. And he goes, what do they tell you to do? Like, how are you going to prepare? And I was like, they're sending me the script. He goes, they're going to overnight it, aren't they? And I'm like, yeah. And he goes, that's awesome. So he goes, all right, read it and call me if you need help. And I said, I definitely will. So I never called him. Probably should have. But read the script. Read it like twice. And I hate reading. Yeah. Prepared the 2 scenes. And I was like, okay, dude, I got this. This guy's just like ultra sarcastic, dry, ultra sarcasm, biting sarcasm. That's how I'm going to do this. So I go, I'm waiting, and there's literally me, another guy, and another guy. 3 dudes. We all fucking look alike. We're all 5'10", 300 plus pounds. I noticed something. I am way cuter than the other two. Okay? And I'm like, all right, I got this. I'm the cute one. All right. So they said, here's the person you're playing, this person's brother. And it turned out to be Paul Dano. Do you know who Paul Dano is?
Yeah, of course I know who Paul Dano
Okay,
is.
no one knew who Paul Dano was back then. This might have been Paul Dano's big break. Okay, like he was probably in that like cheesy teen movie, and then that was it. Okay, so they show a picture, and I'm like, I look nothing like this guy. Like, dude, like, look, Paul Dano is a talent. Okay, not good looking. Can we agree?
He's fucking weird looking.
So I look at the other two people, and I'm like, this mountain of a man looks just like fucking Paul Dano. God damn it. Same fucking cheesy 1970 haircut and everything. And I'm like, all right, just do your thing, out-act everybody, right? So I'm psyching myself up. You either want to be first or last, okay? I end up being last. One dude walks out basically crying. I'm like, all right, he fucking blew it. Another guy walked out pretty confident. I'm like, shit. All right, so I go in there. Fucking Daniel Day-Lewis is fucking standing up, shaking my hand. Rebecca Miller, casting agent, camera guy, sound guy. Okay. And he sits down, and I sit down, and he was listening to Eminem. I'll never forget that. Daniel Day-Lewis is an Eminem fan. Write that down.
I love that so much.
Yes, it's true. All of this, guys, I know it sounds like I'm full of shit, but like I'm not. This really happened. I still have the script. I can show it to you. And he just starts talking. He's like, where are you from? And I'm like, oh, I'm from New Jersey. And he goes, oh, okay, cool. And he says where he's from, somewhere. And he said, you know, this is my wife, Rebecca. She'll be directing. And I was like, hey, and I said something stupid like, oh, I read your dad's plays in high school. And she smiled. And she's like, oh, cool. Did you like them? Like, you know, just small talk.
Yeah.
And they're getting me relaxed. And like, you can probably hear like my heartbeat through my voice, you know, when you get that like tremble in your voice. So I realized later that they were just talking to me until the nerves went away. Like they were making up shit to talk to me about.
Aww.
Right? And then I guess when they heard that my heart wasn't pounding through my chest, they were like, hey, you know, you ready to get started? And I was like, oh, yeah. Thanks. Yeah, sure. Let's go. So again, there's one thing that I have going for me is I'm intelligent. So I memorized both scenes, right? I didn't have paper in my hand. He did. Okay. And they were like, they were like, did you bring your script? And I was like, yeah, but I got it. And they're like, okay, good. Cool. Right. And I kind of got the nod from Daniel, like, nice. Right. We go through it. I crush it. I nail it. Or at least I nail what I meant to do. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Nail it. And they're like, oh, good job. Can we try it standing? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, I'm going to get in your face at this point. Is that okay? And I'm like, absolutely. Nail it. We're doing it. And he gets in my face and like intimidating me. And he's tall. He's skinny though, but he's tall. And he had boots on too. Fucker. And he's looking down at me and he's not touching me, but he's as close as he can get without touching me. Right. And it totally changed the delivery of my lines because I was legit like nervous.
Well, yeah, because he's fucking Daniel Day-Lewis and he's terrifying.
Yes. And he's staring down at me. And then Rebecca, and then the scene ends and Rebecca was like, that's it, Johnny. That's it. Now, can you do it again sitting? And I said, yeah. And I did it. So like, he knew what to do. Like,
yeah.
And I did it again and dude crushed it, nailed it. And they're like the casting director. Like, obviously, I didn't get the part, but if it was up to the casting director, I would have because she was just, like, loving me. Plus, I was her pick. Like, she was the one who weighed me into the – yeah. So, I think she was rooting for me. And now I'm real comfortable now. Like, not only am I comfortable, but I know I'm doing well, okay? And, again, I have it memorized, okay? Memorized, okay? Memorized. All of a sudden, I do my line, and he does his line, and it's the wrong line. And I pause, right? And I don't know what to do here, so I just go to my next line. So we skipped like a 2 or 3 line like exchange. Mm-hmm. It was awkward because he dropped the line. And in my mind, I'm thinking, should I say something? And I was like, I have to say something because I don't want them to think I was bad acting. Like I was thrown off because we skipped a part. So, I literally raised my hand. I was like, Ms. Miller? Yes, Johnny. There was like an awkward pause there that kind of threw me off. And Daniel Day-Lewis goes, yeah, he goes, Johnny, I'm sorry. I dropped the whole section. And he said, yeah, I dropped the whole section of lines. And I look at Rebecca Miller and I go, where the hell do you get these people from? And the room exploded. The whole room cracked up, except Daniel Day-Lewis. He gave me the, and if you're on YouTube, you can see he gave me the Bill the Butcher look. He went like this. He went.
Amazing.
Like the smirk and the.
The little nod. Yeah. You're being a wise ass, and I'm not quite sure how to respond to it. Look.
Right. Like. But Rebecca loved it, and she put her hands on his shoulders and she like shook him up a little bit, like do not get mad at this kid, type thing. You know what I mean? But it was funny, and that's my story. And then we finished the scene, and they said that's it. They thanked me for coming, and they had a good time, and I did an excellent job, and I'll be hearing from them soon. Maybe.
Just don't quite look enough like Paul Dano.
That's my mental reason I didn't get the part. My acting coach, John Ide, he goes, maybe asshole, like you fucking took a shot at Daniel Day-Lewis, and he didn't appreciate that very much. And I was like, no, dude, Rebecca loved it, and she's the director. And I wouldn't have had that moment. I wouldn't have written 3 screenplays. I wouldn't have filmed a few movies if it wasn't for What's Eating Gilbert Grape.
Huh.
Got me right back into it. And that's when I fell in love with The Usual Suspects and Christopher McQuarrie as writer. Dude, Good Will Hunting, huge. You know what I mean? Like I always liked Star Wars, but it was like a kid's movie.
Yeah.
Now I saw Star Wars from like a different lens and Indiana Jones from a different lens. But those were the types of movies I would see, as a kid. Action movies. That's basically a half-hour story on how What's Eating Gilbert Grape changed my life and my Daniel Day-Lewis moment. I think the character was Rodney. Did you IMDb it by any chance while we were talking?
Yeah, I did.
The character was Rodney?
Who ends up being played by...
Don't even say his name. Listen, it's a trigger.
Okay.
Let's just say it's the only thing he ever did, and fuck him.
Okay.
Okay, but is it Rodney?
Yes.
Okay. And then, all right, hold on. Let me see if I can remember. Christopher Lee was in it. Dude, I would have met Christopher Lee. Not Christopher Lee. Jason Lee.
Okay.
Jason Lee's in it, right?
Very different people, but yes.
Yes. Jason Lee's in it. This cast was awesome. And fucking Rodney could have been me. So pissed. They're like kind of like weird commune people. Daniel Day-Lewis and his daughter. And like, so me, Paul Dano. I'm going to keep saying me and Paul Dano.
Yeah.
And Catherine Keener like live with them. And, there's like the power struggle. Like me and Paul Dano don't get along with Daniel Day-Lewis. And Paul Dano ends up like taking her virginity. And like pisses off Daniel Day-Lewis, and like he kind of goes like angry stepdad type shit. I've never seen the movie.
Okay.
Couldn't do it.
That makes sense. Like it'd be a weird watch.
Couldn't do it.
Understandable.
Couldn't bring myself to it. All I know is like Paul Dano's career took off. Good for him, because I wasn't going for his role. And the dude who got the role over me, fuck him. I hope he is starving and out of work. And
Paul Dano's going to be in the Batman.
I know. I love Paul Dano. Let me make that perfectly clear. I love Paul Dano. But that other dude, matter of fact, check his IMDb. What's Homeboy up to?
I mean, it was a bunch of stuff that I'd never heard of.
There you go. That means student films. Bitch. Fuck you. Fuck you. Oh, and he was from the place where they went to film. It was like in Connecticut or Rhode Island somewhere. And he was from there. So he had like that going for him. But fuck him. Douche. I hate him. He's ugly, right?
He was fine looking.
What?
But it was a fucking headshot. I only saw the headshot on Internet Movie Database, which was like
But-
generic Midwestern or like Northeastern looking like white dude.
Yeah, but chunky and ugly, right?
I mean, he's not chunky in his headshot.
What? Yeah, he was chunky for that movie. See, he made the same mistake I did. He lost weight and got in shape and then looked like everyone else. And then the role stopped coming. If I wanted to have a career, I should have stayed like chunky.
He's definitely not chunky in this on the picture he has up, but
Well, I hope he caught a horrible disease that made him lose that weight.
okay.
I hate him.
I mean, understandably.
We have a lot to talk about and not a lot of time to do it. So the reason why we brought up Leonardo DiCaprio was because his new movie, directed by Martin Scorsese and co-starring Robert De Niro, is called Killers of the Flower Moon. It's about the early FBI, and apparently Leo is going to play the mass murderer. That's cool. And the movie's significant because Apple TV is going to fund the whole thing. So kind of like The Irishman went to Netflix, right?
Mhm.
Apple TV is paying for this movie to be made. So I'm assuming it's going to premiere on Apple TV, but still do some theaters so it can get the Oscars
Like
and
The
all that shit.
Irishman did.
Just like The Irishman did.
It definitely makes me sad that that's Martin Scorsese's career now. It's streaming services.
Yeah, Paul Sacco, my cousin who works for Dolby, not a big fan of Martin Scorsese. So he agrees with you. He actually says like Leo being so loyal to Scorsese is hurting him. Not that you can be anything.
I think Leo's doing fine.
He's doing fine. We don't really have much to talk about the movie because we don't really know much about it. But you could read the book Killers of the Flower Moon. But damn the hiccups! Like every time I do this show.
I'm interested to see what it is. I mean, it's a Scorsese movie. I'll watch it.
Yeah, it'll be cool. I like to see Leo play the bad guy again.
Yeah, he's a good villain. Like, it's not something he does a lot, but I mean, he's great in Django.
Great in Django. All right, so I'm looking forward to that. All right, next up, J.J. Abrams is set to direct the sequel to Man of Steel.
Wait a
The
minute.
sources-
I thought this was the story that was actually not true.
Oh yeah, and then we were gonna make fun of me for believing it.
Yeah. So now I get to make fun of you again.
There you go. No, but isn't there something going on though that like there's gonna be more Henry Cavill Superman?
Yes, but probably it doesn't sound like in a Superman movie. It sounds like he's going to be in some of the other DC movies.
Which is cool.
Yeah.
I'll take that. Moving right along. It's like speed dating now. Too bad Mike's not here for this one. Carol Baskin is taking over Joe Exotic's old zoo. Isn't that a kick in the nuts for Joe Exotic? That not only is he in jail because of this woman, but now she's going to own his zoo?
It's pretty fucked.
Like we complain about 2020. Look at Joe Exotic's 2020.
I mean, not that he's a good guy. And he definitely brought upon himself all of this shit. So.
Oh, yeah, not a good person. Matter of fact, like, I think Hawes said it best. Like, there's not a good person in that entire show.
No, they're all terrible.
Or maybe, I'm sorry, one of the zookeeper guys seemed cool. The guy who worked at Walmart that became his campaign manager.
That was weird.
That was weird. What was weirder was, like, didn't he get 33% of the votes? Or 15%, I think, was the realistic number.
Something like that. I don't remember. That's one of those things, like, this is what I found with the Netflix stuff. Anything that I binge, I forget it. I forget most of the details like a week later.
Yeah, because it's fucking quality television, that Joe Exotic, let me tell you. Really stays with you.
It was entertaining.
Yeah, I think so. Star Wars rumor. Disney casting a live-action Grand Admiral Thrawn. Thoughts?
I mean, they're bringing in everybody, it sounds like. So, like, that's one of those rumors where you can start it because it seems like there's about a 50% chance it's going to happen no matter what. Like, anybody you bring up is a coin flip as to whether they're planning on doing it or not.
I've lost so much respect for Star Wars. They're just catering too hard sometimes, right?
Yeah.
Like, you and I, we're not going to bring it up again, but we'll both mention The Rise of Skywalker. Way too much fan service. And I like fan service when it's cool and it makes sense, but I think we can both agree a lot of The Rise of Skywalker didn't make sense. the rumors about the casting for The Mandalorian. Like, The Mandalorian was such a great show. Like, you don't need to bring in all these people if it's true. Like Ahsoka, you know? You don't need to.
It seems honestly like kind of disrespectful to their first season. And it's weird because it seems like if you were going to do that, you'd do that in the first season when you were unsure of whether your show could stand on its own or not. But obviously they don't need it. And it just seems so cheap. For me, it's really disappointing. Even characters who I would be excited to see, it just seems so unnecessary. I want Star Wars to do new things.
Yeah. And let's look at The Mandalorian season 1. Like, all right, the Mando needs a sidekick. What not too popular Star Wars character can we use like this species of? Some genius said, I got it. Ugnaught. And we'll make them these like noble laborers that work their asses off until they turn 55 and get to retire.
Yeah.
Like, that was so cool, and it worked.
Yeah. I'm like, the one episode of that season that doesn't work for me is the one where they go back to Tatooine and it's all this like callbacks to, hey, do you remember that thing that we did before in the movies?
Which episode?
Oh, the one with the other bounty hunter and the 5, I think it is. Toro Caliban. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We're just
Terrible actor.
Like
Terrible
everything is a reference to stuff that came before.
Terrible. The worst acting. That was his name Taro?
Toro. Toro
Coolico?
Calican. I was saying that just to annoy Steele Saunders, but yes, Toro Calican.
I wish Steele listened to this. I really do. That would be 8 listeners. No. I respect Steele, and if he likes him, he likes him. But like, I also know Steele is a comedic genius, and I think he's just trolling the world. And I think Steele I don't want to say gun, Imperial blaster to his head. He'll be like, yeah. No, he's a terrible actor. I think he's just trolling the world masterfully.
Hank Steele is being Steele.
Trolling the world masterfully. Imperial blaster to his head. Coleco is a terrible fucking actor and character. But not just him, the frizzy-haired lady who watches Baby Yoda.
I can't get behind you on that because I fucking love Amy Sedaris, and she was just she's just doing her own thing. And it's not very Star Wars-y, but I also think that like, I just find her amazing, and I love how committed she is, that she's just being like, hey, fuck you, if you're hiring me to do this thing, I'm just going to do what I want to do. Because Amy Sedaris is not a bad actress.
What about those scenes, though? Did you think she was good in those?
I think she is good in those. I think those scenes don't fit in with the rest of the series at all, but I think that's not her fault, because why do you hire Amy Sedaris to be anybody other than Amy Sedaris? Like, you know what you're getting with her. And so if they chose that, they wanted that. And it's their own fault for not making it blend in.
All right, so maybe I'm confusing the tone being off for her being a bad actress. You know what?
I think so.
I like how you educate me. I'm actually on, this is funny, we should be talking about this. I'm actually on Rewatch 3, Episode 4. So she's coming up.
Okay.
Yeah. And dude, Gina Carano, not a great actress, but like, holy shit, that bitch is sexy. And I'm from New Jersey. That B word is a compliment.
She's great. And, you know, for somebody who is not, you know, an actress in general, like she does a good job.
No, she's not horrible. She's believable as a tough woman, because she legit is a tough woman. But dude, when she smiles, I swear to God, I think she's smiling at me.
I haven't watched all of the Disney Gallery Mandalorian behind the scenes, whatever that shit's called, with the worst title ever. But like the few interview clips they have with her, the infectious joy that she has at being in Star Wars and playing this character is delightful and heartwarming, and made me love her even more.
Her like lips and teeth when she smiles makes me love her even more.
Slightly creepy.
No, that's not creepy, dude. Saying you love someone's smile and she has good teeth.
No.
You have good teeth, by the way.
Saying you love somebody's smile is good and not creepy. Saying somebody's lips and teeth is a little bit weird and creepy, and sounds like you're talking about a horse or something.
Oh, no, I don't mean it like that. She's gorgeous, though. She is gorgeous. Never was my type, but like, I guess I was wrong. If I was single, I would probably like go join a CrossFit gym or something.
Okay.
So anyway, back to Thrawn. So I never got Thrawn in Rebels. He sucked. He was not a good character. He was boring and lame.
On paper, I think Thrawn is interesting, but Timothy Zahn, like I know he's super beloved in the Star Wars, like as like a Star Wars novelist, but I've never been into military sci-fi. Like I think it's boring as shit. And so I could never get into any of those books. And I think with a different writer, the whole super intelligent strategy guy that Thrawn is supposed to be, I could really like. But I didn't watch him on Rebels because I only seen like a couple episodes of that show. But the books, it's like a character who I really want to love. You know me, you know the other guys I like in Star Wars. Like that should totally be my guy. And it just like, I can't with Zahn's writing.
He's blue.
He is blue.
I can't get Tom Cruise out of my mind for playing him. Just like the haircut, I think.
Okay, I was gonna
Black.
say anything else, like I don't get, but
Black hair. No, like he's Thrawn. Like Thrawn has like a square jaw, or like a pointy jaw, right? High cheekbones. Tom Cruise. That Top Gun black haircut. Thrawn. Tom Cruise. And then blue skin, red eyes. Like I can really see Tom Cruise doing this. He won't do it for a Disney Plus series, but if they ever made him like the big baddie in a Star Wars movie, I can see him doing it. But dude, Thrawn sucked. I know you don't watch Rebels, or you didn't watch Rebels. Thrawn sucked. You would have really, literally been like, why? This is shit. This is shit.